What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. And today we're going to be talking about the top NBA free agents and where they're going to land for this upcoming NBA season.
Bound. Ingles. Over to Randall. Randall got it off in time. Oh, he's cold-blooded!
Julius Randle. Julius Randle has been doing very well for the Timberwolves this season, as he's been averaging like 18 points a game. He's led them to the finals, and he's going crazy this season alongside Edwards and Gobert. But Julius Randle, I really think the Timberwolves will re-sign him just because he's all-around leader and he's win contagious.
Picked up his dribble. And now 6 to shoot. Kuminga gets a step on Gobert and dunks it down on Gobert.
Second player we're going to talk about is Jonathan Kuminga on the Warriors so far. He's had a very iffy season. He's been very inconsistent, and he had a pretty good playoffs, but of course they lost because Curry was out. But Kuminga will bring his heart everywhere, and he's ready to play. But he's been very solid. So I can see him going to Charlotte, the Charlotte Hornets, or maybe the Miami Heat, team up alongside Andrew Wiggins. And the third player we're going to talk about is Steven Adams. Steven Adams is growing old. He's, I think, 34 years old now, but he's been a very solid center, and I think every team he's been on, they've been winning. So wherever Adams goes, he'll be on a winning team, and I feel like he'll be a pretty solid backup. I feel like he'll re-sign with the Rockets. Develop players such as Jabari Smith Jr. and obviously Sengun is an all-star, but Sengun can still use some work. But with the veteran there in the locker room, they could be a playoff team in the near future. The fourth player we're going to talk about is Naz Reid. And yes, Naz Reid is the GOAT. Naz Reid's been on a winning team, the Wolves, for forever now. And I'm really praying they win the NBA Finals. But Naz Reid, I don't see him staying with the Timberwolves in the near future. I feel like he'll be a solid player on the Bucks, maybe, as Giannis might be leaving. And he could also be a solid player on the Pelicans, as Zion Williamson has been very consistent. Naz Reid, very solid player, most consistent in the league. So that's who you can rely on. Fifth player we're going to talk about is D'Angelo Russell. He's currently on the Nets. He's known as the NBA Bop. He's been around the whole league pretty much, but I feel like the Nets will re-sign D'Angelo Russell. But he's been a very solid player, very consistent. He can get a bucket when you rely on him. So that's what NBA teams desire. So D'Lo, he's going to be a net. The sixth one we're going to talk about is Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook, I really want him to win a ring one day, but I can't see him re-signing with the Nuggets. I can see him sign with the Bucks or the Grizzlies, maybe, as he can team up with Ja Morant. But wherever Westbrook goes, I'm just praying he has a great season. The seventh player we're going to talk about is Josh Giddey. And Giddey was a very solid player this year. He almost averaged a triple-double with the Bulls, and he led the Bulls in the second half of the season as obviously he got traded for Caruso. Caruso and Giddey, that was a really equal trade, but I really feel like the Bulls got the winning edge on that. But Josh Giddey, he's been a very solid player, very consistent. You can rely on him, and there's been talks he will get over $25 million a year, and I really feel like Josh Giddey deserves that. But I can see him resign with the Bulls, and he deserves the money, as he's a winning player. The eighth player we're going to talk about is Malik Beasley. Beasley is one of the most consistent three-point shooters in the NBA currently, and he got the franchise record for the Pistons in most threes in the season. So Malik Beasley, I can really see him re-signing with the Pistons, as he seems to love it there, as they almost made a run to the playoffs this year, but they had to face the super team, the Knicks. But yeah, Beasley's definitely going to re-sign with the Pistons, and he deserves the money he gets. The ninth player we're going to talk about is Luke Kennard. Kennard's been a very solid shooter. He's another three-point shooting GOAT alongside Desmond Bane. But Luke Kennard, I can see him staying with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies can't afford to give up anyone at this moment. But yeah, Luke Kennard, he's going to be a Grizzly, and he deserves maybe 10, at most 15 mil a year. But yeah, Luke Kennard to the Grizzlies. Another player we're going to talk about is Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton was traded to the Wizards earlier this season for Kuzma, in which terrible trade for the Bucks. But Middleton is definitely gonna stay on the Wizards as he needs to stay. The Wizards need someone in the locker room, a veteran locker room to develop players, as they're in the process of rebuilding. But Chris Middleton, I can see him being a Wizard. But if that's not the case, I can see him going to the maybe the Bulls. The 11th player we're gonna talk about is Brook Lopez, and I don't know what Lopez expects, but he wants $20 million a year, and obviously the Bucks can't afford that with all the Giannis rumors going on. But Brook Lopez, he's a very solid center, but the only thing about him is that he's asking for a lot of money, and two, he's really old. And you got all these young prospects in the NBA draft in June. Why not just take a risk on them? But Lopez, I can see him going to the Los Angeles Lakers or the Clippers, as both of them need a center, especially the Lakers. But the Lakers, that will be the main destination for Brook Lopez, unless the Bucks and him negotiate a contract deal. The 12th player we're going to talk about is Clint Capella, another prominent center, but he was on the Hawks this year, and I don't know if he's asking for a lot of money, but I feel like he can fill in for Brook Lopez on the Bucks, as Lopez obviously wants $20 million a year, but Capella will probably ask lower for that price. But I can see Capella going to the Clippers, the Lakers, or the Bucks. So that'll be the main destinations for Clint Capella.